Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're digging into a pretty fascinating vision of the future. Specifically, how our lives, maybe around 2045, might be, well, profoundly shaped by location intelligence.
That's right. We're looking at some excerpts from an article. It's titled Location Intelligence, The Future of Living in 2045.
Mm.
And the idea is to explore what these sources are suggesting about, location moving beyond just being a simple dot on a map to becoming this really foundational layer of, well, our reality.
Exactly. So we're going to look at how this location-enabled analysis might weave into, like, our daily routines, what kind of surprising new experiences or products, as the source calls them, might emerge.
Right.
And the skills needed for the people actually building these systems, which sounds crucial.
Definitely. And also the bigger picture stuff, the source touches on societal implications, sustainability, human connection, big topics.
Yeah.
But the core idea, the real question the source seems to be grappling with, is that shift. How does location stop being something we actively, think about all the time?
Right.
And become more like this ambient intelligence guiding our world?
Okay, so let's try and unpack that. The article paints this picture of 2045 where location isn't just, say, a search term you type or a map app you open. It's ambient. It's kind of seamlessly integrated into the background of, well, everything.
Yes, exactly. It describes a world where our environments, our homes, workplaces, communities are deeply interconnected through these really sophisticated geospatial systems. And these systems, they're not just tracking where you are. They're learning about your needs, maybe your state of being, even like your preferences moment by moment.
And this is where it gets, well, really interesting. The source brings in this concept of a digital twin, which is essentially a dynamic, location-aware sort of representation of you that learns from your behavior, your mood, your patterns.
And this digital twin, powered by that ambient geospatial intelligence, it doesn't just sit there waiting for you to ask it something. It proactively guides your day. The examples they give are quite vivid, actually.
Like what?
Well, suggesting a nature walk because it understands maybe your stress levels and knows the local air quality is perfect right then.
Okay.
Or nudging you about a spontaneous coffee.
Yeah.
Because, hey, a friend happens to be unexpectedly nearby.
So it's not passive navigation anymore, like turn left here. It's active, intelligent guidance based on your spatial context and, well, your personal well-being data too. This feels like a really fundamental shift, doesn't it? Location evolving from a tool you use to something that assists you almost implicitly.
Yeah, and what's fascinating there, I think, is the emphasis on this intelligence being silent, respectful, and effective. That's the phrasing. Guiding you without needing constant conscious interaction or, decision-making on your part all the time.
Right. So with location becoming this ambient layer, what kind of new experiences or products, as the article terms them, what might emerge? They sound pretty unique.
They do sound quite different. One idea they float is personalized wellness maps.
Yep.
And these go beyond just finding the nearest gym or, a park on a map. The source suggests they're adaptive maps. They recommend nearby micro experiences tailored to your current energy, your schedule, your specific needs right now.
Micro experiences.
Yeah, like maybe a quiet little pocket park for just a moment of calm if it senses you're stressed. Or perhaps a burst of physical activity in some surprising spot it knows about.
Okay. So the key insight there is location moving from just a utility finding a place to something more like prescriptive wellness, where the environment is actively recommending spaces tailored to your, like, mental and physical state at that moment.
Exactly. And then there's another one, geospatial social matching.
What's that about?
Well, this takes connecting with people beyond just scrolling through online profiles. It's about facilitating instant, maybe more authentic connections based on actual proximity and potentially deeper compatibility.
Deeper than just interests.
Yeah, meeting people nearby who share not just interests, but potentially values, or the source even speculates, brainwave frequency. A bit out there, maybe.
Wow. Okay.
But the core idea is enabling connections based on spatial presence, really fostering real-world meetups.
That really makes you think, doesn't it, about how we'll form connections. And then for many people, I guess, dynamic work-life orchestration sounds highly relevant.
Oh, definitely, especially for the hybrid or remote worker. This system uses location to help you sort of fluidly transition between different needed zones throughout your day.
Zones.
Like productivity zones, collaboration zones, maybe restoration or break zones. Imagine being guided from, say, a quiet co-working space you're in to a nearby green rooftop for a focused break it knows you need.
Okay.
Or even being suggested a specific VR environment that's tailored for collaboration when maybe physical presence isn't possible or practical.
So your workspace isn't fixed anymore. It's location fluid, kind of optimized by the spatial context around you.
Precisely. And then this last concept they mentioned really sparks the imagination: immersive memory creation.
Immersive memory creation. Tell me more.
Well, the article suggests that with advancements in AR, VR, AI, you could potentially re-experience favorite places, or even relive specific memories with other people, but from anywhere in the world. And it highlights this choice that presents. Does this kind of tech lead us to just revisit cherished places virtually, maybe endlessly? Or does it actually inspire us to go out and create brand new physical memories in the real world?
That choice feels critical. Yeah, it really touches on whether the need to physically explore changes fundamentally.
The source seems to suggest both possibilities exist, really.
What's that?
Exactly. I mean, some fundamental human pleasures, feeling a sea breeze, the spontaneity of a live street performance, those remain inherently tied to physical presence, don't they?
Sure.
But then location-augmented reality could also birth entirely new kinds of pleasures, where memories, emotions, stories are digitally layered onto physical spaces, making location itself a kind of canvas for personal history and shared experiences.
It also breaks down how different generations might engage with all this. It's quite interesting. Like children learning about the world by, say, walking through augmented historical events right there in their own neighborhood. Teens using these geosocial platforms, maybe not just for friends, but for discovering local communities, activities.
Real world stuff.
Adults optimizing their well-being and social connections based on spatial context, like we discussed.
Yeah.
And even elders potentially revisiting significant life moments with this added emotional richness enhanced by these spatial memory layers.
And if we connect that back to the bigger picture,
Oh,
well, it underscores how location intelligence isn't just envisioned as being about getting from A to B anymore. It's presented as a way to potentially enrich the human experience across an entire lifespan, making spatial context really central to learning, social connection, wellness, even memory itself.
So, okay, if this is the future, who are the people building it? What kind of skills will the GI scientists and location professionals of 2045 actually need? The article outlines some key shifts there, too.
Yeah, it does. The GIS professional of the future, according to this source, won't just be, a map maker or a data manager in the traditional sense. They'll need this kind of cross-disciplinary fusion, understanding things like behavioral psychology, ethics, urban planning, even immersive storytelling, alongside the traditional geospatial technical skills.
It sounds like bringing the human element, the broader context, right into the core technical role is absolutely key.
Precisely. They'll need skills in AI plus geospatial, obviously, but not just for static analysis, more for developing predictive models that can actually account for the messiness of human behavior, emotion, uncertainty.
Right, the unpredictable parts.
Yeah. And digital twin and simulation modeling are also mentioned as crucial, building these really lifelike spatial models for planning and understanding complex interactions.
And the source heavily emphasizes ethics and data stewardship, which makes sense, right? This kind of intelligence relies on deeply personal location data.
Absolutely. Crafting systems that inherently prioritize individual agency, privacy, equity, that's presented as a fundamental skill, not just an add-on or an afterthought.
Yeah.
The source actually uses some pretty evocative language. It calls the future GIS professional a placemaker, a life optimizer, a guardian of human-centered data experiences.
That's quite a significant evolution of the role. Okay, so shifting gears slightly, the article raises a really critical question near the end about the societal impact.
Yeah.
Are we actually heading towards a more sustainable life with all these advancements or not?
Well, the source calls location intelligence a double-edged sword here, which feels appropriate.
Okay.
On one hand, it can be this incredibly powerful tool for good, optimizing traffic flows to cut emissions, for instance, improving energy grid efficiency by really understanding spatial demand patterns, directing resources for better healthcare access based on need and location, and even, like we touched on, reconnecting people with local nature through that intelligent guidance. Lots of potential positives.
But there's always a but, isn't there? What's the downside potential?
Yes, the potential is also there to amplify some pretty negative trends. enabling more pervasive surveillance, obviously, exacerbating social segregation through like spatial filtering, who gets guided where, who connects with whom.
Ah, right.
And contributing to digital overload or burnout by constantly, relentlessly optimizing our movements and experiences.
So just having the technology doesn't guarantee a positive outcome at all.
Not at all. The source puts the choice really starkly. It says, the question is not, will we become more sustainable, but will we design for it or be designed by it?
Oof. That's quite a statement.
It is. It highlights that the outcome isn't predetermined. It fundamentally depends on the choices made, conscious choices, in how this technology is developed, deployed, and governed.
That raises a really important point for everyone involved, whether you're building this stuff or just, living through this technological evolution. The article references earlier ideas about a geospatial revolution, but sort of argues that maybe we've only seen glimpses so far, and that the true revolution, enabled by combining location data with these other disciplines, AI, behavioral science, is actually just beginning.
Yeah, they seem to believe this combination will lead to a profound, almost generational change. A change in the meaning of our lives, really, experienced on a deeply personal, day-to-day level, not just abstractly.
That sheer speed of advancement, using geospatial intelligence as this connecting thread, it's set to create some truly significant shifts.
And that potential shift, it touches almost every facet of life, doesn't it? How we stay healthy, how we understand our communities, how we interact with each other and the world around us. It's huge.
Okay, so let's just quickly recap our journey through this vision of 2045. We've explored how location intelligence could weave into our daily lives, from those personalized wellness prompts and connecting with people nearby.
Right, to the dynamic work environment and even reshaping how we create and revisit memories.
Yeah. And we touched on those expanded, really human-centered skills needed for the people building this future.
And that critical societal choice, the one the source raises about sustainability and ethics, how we consciously design these systems.
We've seen how location is envisioned to move far, far beyond just a simple coordinate on a map.
Potentially becoming this fundamental, almost subconscious rhythm guiding so many aspects of our lives.
So the source suggests this geospatial revolution, as they call it, isn't over. Maybe it's just beginning. And crucially, it will be lived. Which leaves us with a final thought, maybe for you to consider. What does it mean for you in your everyday choices and interactions? That location might soon matter more, and perhaps